This statement is normally spoken of when someone needs something from someone. Once one gets what he or she is looking for, that statement becomes completely obsolete. Hello viewers, welcome to Prosperity of Love Talk Show. Here's your host, Lawrence Chinoona. In today's episode, we are going to be concentrating on a number of questions that I have received after my first episode. The first question that we are going to be concentrating on, I received it from a fellow brother in Christ. He asked me a very touching question. He said, I've been in a relationship for more than 6 years with a certain lady. And it happened that with the sweetheart of my life, we broke up. And after the breakup, I felt like my life has been shattered. And I don't even know if I am ever going to come across the love of my life. Because every time I try to find someone to love, it seems like they run away from me. So his question was mainly on, why is it that people are running away from me when I need them? And is there any chance for me to ever come across the one whom I will call the love of my life? Here's the honest answer and response I gave him, and I believe that even anyone who is in the same situation, I can ever give this kind of response. First of all, one thing that we have to understand is this: love is misused in most cases, is misrepresented in most cases, and it is a statement that is always being overused by so many people. In the first instance, one thing that I would want to address is that the most critical thing is to understand the concept of forgiveness. Once you begin to understand what forgiveness is, you will begin to be able to grow not only in self-love but even in the love of others. So the first thing in forgiveness is you have to understand to forgive yourself. It is called self-forgiveness. Self-forgiveness is a result of the forgiveness that God himself has forgiven you in Christ Jesus. So if you have been able to accept and receive the forgiveness that God has outpoured unto you through Christ, you will be able also to forgive yourself for whatever reasons that you might have come across, for whatever the wrongs that you might have committed in your life, for whatever wrongs that you have wronged other people in your life. And once you do that, you will realize that you will be able also to forgive those who might have wronged you. This is the second step. If you are able now to forgive those who have wronged you, then you are now able to step out of your own fears and begin to live and love the life that revolves around you. Because as long as you are still stuck in the broken relationship that you cannot do anything about, then at the end of the day, you are letting the past to live the present and even to overshadow your future. You will never be able to experience what the beauty of the future and the present is like. The second question that I received it from a certain lady. She said she has been in a relationship with a certain guy, and they had gone so far to an extent that introductions have been made to each and to both of their families, and they have also agreed that they were going to be married. She was in a position or in a situation where she really believed that this was the love of his life. But the most painful part is that they eventually broke up. And the most painful part is that after they broke up, 2 weeks after the breakup, the guy ended up marrying someone else. She said the most painful part about all this drama is that he is actually the guy who broke up my virginity. Before I answer this question, I also want to pose another question that I received from another lady again. She said, after a series of heartbreaks, after a series of disappointments, how can I come and reach to a point where I will say, this is the ideal man for my life? She was questioning that after a series of heartbreaks, after a series of disappointments, how can you come to a point where you can actually believe that there is still true love and there is still an ideal man for me? And how can I get to understand that? How can I get to realize it? How can I get to know it? This is the honest question. This is the honest answer that I gave here, and which I also believe is going to help someone here. Honestly, you can never be able to identify or to realize that this is the ideal man for you. Why? Because love is always misunderstood. Get me right. In most cases, love takes us to a point where we speak things that people want to hear. I can make an enormous number of promises to a lady simply because I want to lure her, simply because I want her to be in my life. And once she is now in my life, I can get whatever I want. And once I get it, then I will just leave you. So you can never tell that this is an ideal man, not even from the words that he speaks, not even from the actions that he is demonstrating, until a tangible commitment has been made. Until the man has committed his life for you. He has taken you to become his beloved, wedded wife in his life. You will never, ever conclude to a point that he is the ideal person for me. Here is the point. You have to understand that human beings have been given the ability to imagine. So it is those incredible imaginations that are caused by euphoric feelings that are in us, which makes people to perceive a happily ever after life, where they will be seemingly in their own heaven with the sweethearts of their lives. And once that particular imagination has been ended by a sudden and abrupt breakup, those people will feel completely shattered. Love is where someone is able to separate between the emotions that he has towards someone and the care that he has for someone. Here is my explanation of what love is. If you can go into the Bible and go to 1 Corinthians chapter number 13, you realize that love is patient. Love cares for others. Love forgives. Love doesn't look for itself but cares for others. So one thing that you have to understand is this. In most cases, where people abruptly get into other relationships, they fail with something called patience. And once you feel something called patience, you actually come to a point where you overlook the most important steps. And the first important step, as I mentioned in the first response, is that you have to give yourself time to heal. And for you to heal, you have to get through the process of self-forgiveness and forgiving those who might have wronged you. And secondly, we have to be able to apply our minds as far as the love concept is concerned. Most people only apply their feelings, but they suspend the logical thinking of the mind. Once we use our feelings rather than our minds, we will come to a point where we will be completely engaged in a series of disappointments and heartbreaks. So in conclusion, I want you to understand this. In all these three questions, this one who has failed a relationship just before she gets married, she is still living in the past because she has been heartbroken, she has been broken in virginity, and she doesn't even imagine if she will ever come across an ideal man for him. Let me give you this assurance that you are still loved, you are still lovable, only until you realize these three concepts, this concept of forgiveness. 1, forgive yourself. 2, forgive the ones that have wronged you. 3, you will also find yourself be able to move in the reality and trueness of love.